Hello, slots enthusiasts. How are you? My name is John Friedel. Welcome to Professor Slots, a channel that helps you master casino slots so you can win your way to success. It's great to see you all here again for another Professor Slots podcast episode and live stream. If you're with us live, be sure to say hello and ask your slots related questions. I normally get to this a little bit later, but we have a super chat, and I've been promising to have reward that with something. So let me see if I can bring this up. Pardon me. Come on. Okay. Right. So Chuck has offered a $20 and 1 penny. And I wanted to recognize that with a sound. And it's my first attempt at doing that, so we'll see how it actually worked out. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Chuck. If you're interested in giving a super chat or super sticker, it's at the bottom of the live stream. And that's a new feature that now that I've monetized, gone over 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm over 1,300 at this point, or close to it. So it's been booming. And feel free to support the show. As someone said last time, give the professor a spin. Give the professor the amount of one of your bets on a slot machine. It helps support the show and helps me to be able to continue to do this for you. So today, we're again going to be diving into payout returns. Last week's show had lots of questions and was, frankly, rambunctious, but I had a lot of content. It turned out too much content to go over in one show. Payout returns are an important topic for slots enthusiasts, whether your state offers them for you or not. So today I'm finishing that topic, or at least the basic approach and basic concepts, and getting you started on what you can, what I have available on my online resource and my own analysis that I've done here and there for some things. It's a lot of material, but the basic concepts are easy enough to get into this. So, hey, Sally. So I'm trying to ignore the live chat during today's show until we get a little bit of this presented to you. I get a little bit of this presented to you, and but I do get trapped by this. Appreciate Chuck saying the audio is good. I worry about that. Yes, for those of you who missed last week's show, I explained how payout returns are two different concepts in one. It refers to the odds of winning on a slot machine. The first is payout, meaning the theoretical payout limit set by some states and gaming compacts. The second is return, so payout and return. So the second is return, meaning the results of bets, which are required by some states. They want to know the report. They want the report, which makes these and then they make those return statistics available to the public on their gaming commission website. So as you learned on last week's show, if you didn't know it already, return statistics are these two separate concepts. Many slots enthusiasts will use the terms tight and loose to describe how a slot machine feels when they play it, with tight being a low payout setting, resulting in a equally low return to player, RTP, and loose meaning the exact opposite, high payout and high RTP. So these are terminology, it's definitions, it's what these terms mean, because some people, I remember the first time years ago when I heard about a loose machine, I was like, loose? Is it like need a screwdriver to be tightened, or what's going on with that? So some of these concepts are new to many people and some of them are very familiar, but let's all be on a level playing field by going over them. Two others, win percent and hold percent. which are percentages which are related to one another. Whenever you add them together, they equal 100%. So a 95% win percent for the player means a 5% hold percent for the casino, because 100% minus 95% is 5%. Yes, yes, math. But just to do the math one more time, because I love math, a 10% hold percent for the casino automatically means a 90% win percent for the player. Now, one last thing about win percent and hold percent. Who's doing the winning and who's doing the holding? We've talked about, we're about to talk about states, where every state makes their own gaming regulations. Each state says the player is the winner, or excuse me, some states say that the player is the winner, so they'll post their payout returns as player win percent. But other states take the casino's perspective, so they'll post their returns as casino win percent. And each of these states will just say win percent and drop the words player or casino. That means it's up to you to understand the difference. Here's how you do it. If you see a high win percent, say anything over 75%, then that's the player win percent, no matter what they call it. They might call it a player hold percent, all these other terms. If it's over 75%, it's the player win percent. But if you see anything under 25%, then that's for the casino. And sometimes they will use hold percent and win percent sort of interchangeably, but you're looking for, what does it mean to you? So the higher number is, yours. But if they don't provide that, if they provide the smaller number, you just subtract from 100%, and that's what it is for you. So to get the player win percent, you subtract it from 100%. Anyway, we'll get to all, we've got all these interlocking percentage points. Um, uh, 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 I, I had a question, and Joyce, I haven't used it myself, Joyce, on how to do the super chat. It's, I have to, I guess, join another live stream and try it from non-host perspective. There's one on Monday that I like to attend. I'll try it then, so I have a better description how to make it work. Certainly, I know that people come to my live stream and they're not logged in to Google, so they're not. They can see the live chat, but they can't participate because you need to be logged in with your account. If you don't have an account, then you can't comment. So there's several steps involved, and I will see if I can't come up with explain it. Maybe I'll do that in a separate video or something, but in reference it here. Anyway, sorry about that, Joyce. There are other ways to donate. On the side of my website, there's a tip the professor through PayPal or otherwise. But I do love these. So right. So anyway, we've got all these interlocked percentage points. Where do they come from? What do they mean? Well, in general, they mean how much was won divided by how much was bet. All right. It's a simple concept. So let's say, for you, right? Let's say you have $100. You have a $100 bankroll and you spend all of it on a single slot machine, but you kept all your winnings, which are separate, right? So let's just say you have $100, you put it in a slot machine, you spend the $100, and then you look at the slot machine to see how much was left, your winnings, and let's say it totaled $75. Well, your player win percent for that session where you spent $100 is 75%. That's from your perspective. Now, let's look at it from the casino's point of view. Not that slot machine, all slot machines, not for that time period, but all time periods. Let's say it's a month, all right? Let's say it's September 2020. Some states that have return statistics have already posted last month's results because we're in the middle of this month. So some states are on a monthly schedule, and they might take a couple of weeks to get everything they need to post it. But by now, Connecticut Gaming Commission has the month of September return statistics. And since they only have the two casinos for now. They're looking, I think they scrapped the deal for the third one, and there's another one that might come through sometime. Connecticut's coming up again. It's almost been a year since I reviewed it. But if you go look at the Gaming Commission in Connecticut, you look at the return statistics for Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut, and you look at the month of September 2020, they had the amount that was spent by everybody who played casino slot machines in that casino in the month of September last month, at the time that we're recording this, was $316,828,736. Okay, that's how much money people spent. Now, just to give you an example of some of the stuff we will try to do a little bit later, is what was it a month ago? What was it September 2019? Well, it wasn't 316 million, it was 470 million. So income is down, right? But now at this tribal casino, slots enthusiasts spent $316 million, but they won back all but $27 million of it. Okay, so they spent 316 and they won back what? 316 minus 27. Dang it, I didn't have that available. I'd have to. It's hard to run a podcast, run all this at the same time. You do this. So doing math in my head while I got 5 other things going on. 289 million. All right. So $316 million was spent by slots enthusiasts in September at Foxwoods, and 289 million was returned to them, which meant the difference, 27 million, is how much the casino got. All right. So that means the player win percent was 91.3% for the players, and the casino hold percent was 8.7% for Foxwoods. In September from the year before, the player win percent was 91.9%. Okay. September 2020, 91.3%. September 2019, 91.9%. That's a difference of 0.6%. Okay. Get excited. That's huge. I mean, well, I shouldn't say excited. Get upset. It's dropped by 0.6%. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference. It's over 0.5%. You'd feel that in your wallet. So last year, I was interviewed by a local ABC News evening news channel, Channel 27, for Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, capital of Pennsylvania. They have one casino, Penn National. It's a Hollywood casino. It's a racetrack with slot machines. And they had questions about the odds of winning there because they had heard some complaints. So they did more analysis than we'll be able to do here. I might give you a few examples, but I wanted to show you that it's like a 7-minute segment. I won't show it here on the show because that's technically difficult, and I'm trying to make sure my laptop doesn't turn its fan back on and have a rumble in the background. But they compared return percentages each year for that casino all the way back to when it opened. I'd explained to them why the first year would have a high return for business reasons, and the remaining years, well, not so much, especially the last several years. The convenient link I've curated, they have this long link, but the convenient link I've created for this video on their news website, which is still there, is professorslots.com/ABC27. So I have put that into the video description. I put it and I will put it in the podcast show notes, and I will drop that into the live stream now. So this is not a. Let me see if I can drop that in properly. Okay, so I put it on the screen as well. So if you go take a look at that at some point. It's not a YouTube video, so I can't connect it. It's just something they have in their website. But if you take a listen to that, it talks about our topic today, particularly an analysis performed for a particular casino where they were interested in this, and this gives you an example of what you might do. One example of what you might do and what you might learn from it. So I won't repeat that here. It's a perfectly fine video, but when you do listen to it, make sure you listen to the last few seconds. Okay, the anchors are kind of talking back and forth. And there's a great little bit about casino competition and why it matters, because the Penn National outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, doesn't have a competitor. The competitors, the other casinos, are all up in that state, are all up in Philadelphia, and that's not convenient. Right. So many people that I talk to, every time you join one of my Facebook groups for each state, or the Professor Slots one, which is international, you, you have to join, and I welcome you by asking you what's your favorite casino. And a lot of people say it's the one closest to me, and which makes sense. But if you don't have a couple close to you, then you sort of kind of get a little stuck. And that's where Harrisburg has been for years, or the slots enthusiasts around that area in Pennsylvania have been for years. And it shows in the return statistics. And that's the sort of thing, who knows what you're going to find. Now, not everybody, well, I'll get to this point in a moment. I think Shannon's referring to says Small World. I think she's maybe from that area. I got a bump on my website with people coming to visit me, and I'm sure that there's because of that, and I'm sure some stuck around. So I don't know that with Shannon though. Okay, so one last point to make about theoretical payout limits. Some states set this limit as part of their gaming regulations. In fact, some states set two limits: a lower limit of, say, Pennsylvania's 85%, and an upper limit of, say, Pennsylvania's 100%. Actually, it's up to 100%. It's not actually 100%. It has to be like 99.99. But the theoretical payout limits are also in a few tribal gaming compacts. Not a lot, but a few in the nation. I've looked at all of them. There are a few. So as gaming regulations are meant to do, theoretical payout limits are meant to protect slots enthusiasts. If we, and it still startles me that I don't even have to imagine this. If we experience a global pandemic and all U.S. casinos shut down for months, that would be so outrageous last year. But say that happens. Upon returning or reopening, players may have concerns about casinos lowering the odds for slot machines, so no player ever wins anything. During these times, a lower limit for theoretical payouts protects players at casinos. So then there's the rest of the time. One point I was implying earlier about the 0.6% drop at Foxwoods when compared from this September to last year's September is how very noticeable it is. States without theoretical payout limits aren't protected by state law. Some states don't have that protection, but they are protected in another way. They're protected by common sense. If a casino chooses to set their slot machines to have a much lower theoretical payout setting, say by dropping it by 10%, it's a terrible shock. It's a terrible shock to players. It's more than obvious. Players become outraged and leave to never return. Okay, this happened. It feels like years ago, honestly. I know everybody says that, but it feels like years ago. This happened in January. And it was like a big thing. Tribal casinos in Oklahoma, these casinos, all of them, had an argument with the governor. The governor wanted to revise Oklahoma's gaming compacts, so the state got more money from the casinos, a fee for every slot machine, stuff like that. And the current gaming compacts in Oklahoma don't have a limit. They don't have to be, they don't expire. And some compacts do and some don't. And if it wasn't set that way back in, the late 80s, early 90s, if they just said, "Oh, good to perpetuity," well, 20 years later, they're thinking about, 30 years later, excuse me, 30 years later, if the governor's like, we really ought to renegotiate those gaming compacts. Sorry, man, you know, they can revise gaming compacts. Usually usually the way they've written it is, if both parties agree. If the state agrees and the tribe agrees, then they you can make a change. Like, for instance, back in 1990, there were no ticket in, ticket out readers, right? So some of that sometimes has some associated gaming regulations. They want to protect people, and the casino wants to protect themselves. So sometimes they will make modifications if both parties agree. Uh, and this Oklahoma tribal casino thing with the governor, the tribes definitely did not agree. And the governor's like, "No, it's perfectly reasonable. You'll give us more money because, who knew that Oklahoma was going to have tribal casinos? That's like a big thing. That's big money now." Uh, I'm paraphrasing, and all this is, I don't live in Oklahoma, so I don't see the local news. I just, looked at it a couple of times a year, and I don't mean to, you know, uh, say something I don't know well enough, like some people do on this, but yeah, that was obvious. So what did the Oklahoma casinos do? Uh, just in case they, just in case the worst happened, and the governor was successful in renegotiating the tribal gaming compacts, Oklahoma's casino, and this is really not too much of a surprise to tribal casinos in Oklahoma, but they decided that they would turn down the theoretical payout return to put aside some money while they could in case the worst happened. And it was obvious. They lost many, many slots enthusiasts who were regular players at their casinos, many never to return. That lost income is still being felt by those casinos on top of the pandemic, the result of the pandemic, which only started like a month after, January. So, uh, and so my point here is that it's common business sense to not lower the theoretical payout return, because if they do that, casinos can lose their hard-won customers over a single visit to the casino. Hard-won customers they've built over months, years, boom, gone. In that kind of common sense, business practice is another form of protection for slots enthusiasts. Certainly, it's far more common than legally required theoretical payout limits, as many states don't have such a limit. But it is comforting when they do, right? So at one point, before I check in with the live chat, I see I see stuff going on. People saying hi, hi. I'll get to you in a minute. One last point before I check in with the live chat, and then move on to state by state payout returns and start looking at actual numbers. Any theoretical payout limit in a state gaming regulation or compact is just that. It's a lower limit, sometimes including an upper limit. If I say Ohio's legal theoretical payout limit is 85%, which it is, does that mean slot machines at Ohio's casinos each have their theoretical payout set on the machine to 85%? No, absolutely not. It's not a set value. The theoretical payout limit is not 85%. Excuse me. The theoretical payout is not 85%. The theoretical payout limit is 85%. 85% or higher. Okay. So 85% or greater. I had a comment from one of my YouTube videos recently where someone tried to tell me that the states set the theoretical payout, meaning, boom, that number, hit it on the dot. 85%, 0.00000. That's what it is. And they don't. No state, I've gone through every state 3 times. No state sets a precise theoretical payout. All of them our range. For Ohio, it's 85% or more. For Pennsylvania, it's 85% up to 100%, not 100%, up to it. So 99.999. So in another state, they might have two sets of theoretical payout limits, right? Two ranges, one range for slot machines and another for video poker machines, for instance. And that happens. So I'm going to check in with a live chat. I've seen a lot of movement over there from the corner of my eye, and I'll swing by and say hello. Yes, if you would care to donate a spin, give the professor a spin, that would be awesome. Now that I've gone over 1,000 subscribers, I now have the super chat sticker button available at the bottom of the live stream chat window. So, yep. Good morning, Steve. Hey, Sally. Just kind of going back through here. Joyce has a question. Let me see if I can make sure I show this up. Lots of comments. I have to sort of basically find things. Okay, so I hate to take the time. There it is. Good. Okay, so Joyce asks, been using strategy 7 and it's been paying off. Excellent. Wow, here's a super chat for all your help. And then I think later you said, oops, it's not working. So you can try, well, it's on the side of my, I'll show you in a bit. It's on my website for donations. You have to sort of go to an article and it's on the side or the bottom if you're on a mobile phone. Gives me a tip through PayPal. And thank you for trying. So Michael's here from Denver, and he Black Hawk. And questions between everybody. That's great. Let's see. Yep. Let's see. Jan says, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Do what comes natural. And let's see. Skimming through all these. Sally says, yes, Professor Slots, we are not all math wizards like you. Hey, I got B pluses, A minus, all the way through to the end. So I had a professor one time who we were sort of trying to decide what graduate school programs I'd be a part of in physics, and they would talk about the research and superconductivity and whatnot. And one of the, not me, one of the other students was there. He asked the question, so how much math are we going to need to know? And the professor responded, all of it. Next question. So I kind of went to the end. There's certainly more, but anyway, I'll stop talking about math. I don't want to give anybody headaches. So Jan says she used to love going to Foxwoods, not to gamble necessarily, but to see Gene Pitney in concert. Yeah, I saw one of the Monkees at Mohegan Sun when I was living in Connecticut. That was my first time to meet. Not my first time to Mohegan Sun. I had a period there where I was in Connecticut, and after winning a lot at Prairie Meadows, and then I moved to Connecticut for 10 years, and I just couldn't quite. I had a lot to think about from my winning, and I did that for a while, and it was just a expensive place to live, and I was just getting started with my career. So I went a couple of times and then lost terribly, and I was like, okay, something's different. I really need to think this through. And now we have Professor Slots. So, right. So Catherine is here. She's from Portland. And thank you, Greener Pastures, for sharing on Twitter. Let's see. Sally says, I'm still confused about the bingo and the slots in Oklahoma. Yeah, that's not the topic of today's live stream, to talk about Class 2 competition style slot machines. And I think you might have asked me a question elsewhere. There's a lot of variety. And since it's, the requirements are less strict, so as long as it's competitive. I mean, there's some places that have competitive slot machines, and it's a separate game on the machine where yeah, the one part is actual slot machines, but the second part allows them to use it as a skill-based machine. I mean, you can even say video poker is a skill-based game because, it's poker in part. So there's, other things to talk about, but we not on today's show. We'll do that sometime. Are the Keno and poker machines better to play than regular slots? Kiefer's Place says. So what you want to do is check the gaming statistics um, and see. I mean, if you're in Nebraska, if you're in Nevada, if you're in some of these other states, and I'll talk to you about I can tell you how to get to each one of those states. I've wrote an article about every state. See what they have to say. See what, so many people are like guessing, they're kind of talking about it and they're like, well, come to my casino. We've got loose slots. And I'm like, do you have data? If you don't, it's just an opinion. But if it's posted on the state gaming commission, I see too many people just sort of like, what's your source? Where did you hear that? Do you feel that way? That's all great. I value that, but I'd like to know whether or not it's actual, and what's the facts are, because if your state says what the return is on Keno, which is, by the way, usually low, but if you poker machines, there's some states that will allow them to go up to an upper limit of 103%. And of course, we are talking about poker machines being better if you know how to play the game. So it's a skill-based machine, and that's why it said that. So Lois and David here. Hello. And 7 win and return 1 week later, Joyce says. Okay. Okay, Jill says winning. Great shades of what's his name? Sheen. Joyce says I went through on my AMX, but not showing on the live chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, Sally says, I believe I am a genius. Some people say I have, I tell them I have 7 college degrees, those 7 college degrees, and they say, you must be really smart. And I say, well, it's a fact that I'm educated, but it's a opinion if I'm smart. And then they just look at me and they're like, they pause for a minute and they're like, oh, you're smart. So thank you. I appreciate that. So Jill says, thank you. My new intention in between, I will do my cease for my professional credits. Okay. Sally says, yes, I know I need to get your course as soon as it's ready. I need to get my course ready as soon as I can. I'm working at it every day. Okay. And yes, just the facts. I mean, opinion is good. I don't let that go. That's good information too. If you're talking to a slot attendant and they have an opinion about where they work, listen, but don't take it for granted, right? Understanding the source, somebody who works at that casino is a slot attendant, so they can't play slots ever, unless before they work there or something. And, I know there's different rules for different casinos, but mostly they can't play. So how would they know? But they see stuff. And so if you listen to what they say, sometimes you can, they'll say, well, I saw this person win, and, that's a great machine. You should go play that machine. And you go back to that first bit and someone won. What day of the week was that? When's your shift? What time of the day was that? Right? You don't just do what they say, listen to what they say and see if you can get some good information from that. Okay. So that was excellent. It looks like we're kind of caught up. Yeah, go with your gut. You've got wonderful instincts. Your ancestors would not have survived for you to be here if you didn't. So, there's all kinds of information out there. One of the biggest things that, just at a high level, one of the biggest things that I talk about with people who, come in and want to talk about slots is observe. One of the biggest winning strategies is to walk into a casino and listen for anybody else winning. I don't even have a number for that. Uh, if nobody else is winning in the casino, what makes you think that you're going to win? I mean, this is not everybody. It's, again, going back to comments from this last week. You're not luckier than anybody else. If you concentrate, are you luckier? Luck is the universe. It doesn't have anything to do with you. You're struck by lightning. It's really up to the universe. Maybe you can wear a hat. Maybe you can, not walk under that tree during the big storm. You got a few things that you can do. But if you go to a casino and you want to win at slots, and people say, better luck next time, from a slot attendant, and you're just like, hey, this is not on me. This is on you. Is anybody else winning? Yeah, there's a good tip. If they're winning, and then maybe you should track that down and try that. If nobody is winning throughout the entire casino, should you even be there? What does that even mean? So okay, so moving on from the live chat, now getting back to the specific topic. Now what payout returns are. But let's go take a look at some of them. We'll start with the 6 states that offer payout returns by slot machine denomination. So I will activate my screen here. That's the one I want to go with. Right. So make that a little bit bigger for you. And we'll start on my website, and I'll show you how to get from different places. This is what it looks like from a desktop. If I narrowed this down a little bit, it would kind of switch over to what it looks like on a mobile device, where you got this white bar, and then you have to click the button called menu. But if you're on a laptop or desktop, then they sort of expands. So I know about half of you are on a mobile phone. So when I go through these, and I'll show you where I'm going and et cetera in a moment, we'll start with 6 states that offer payout returns by slot machine denomination. I want you to take particular note. This is a tip. Take particular note of the odds of winning on penny denomination slot machines when compared to any other slot machine denomination. I'm trying to remember to add a tip to every video I create, whether live or not. A lot of what I talk about is valuable, but it's sort of general understanding and, see if it applies to you and that sort of thing. But I want to make specific tips, so I'll try to do that from now on. I haven't done it every time. Just sometimes it seems obvious, but maybe not. So in general, penny slot machines have the worst odds of winning. I know you love penny slot machines. I did a survey and asked, what people like, and people love penny slot machines. And you can tell sometimes by, talking to the slot attendant or the floor manager at a casino and saying, compared to all the other different denominations, how many, are penny slot machines? And they'll be like, well, about all of them. Like Des Moines has Prairie Meadows, and the last time I was there, they were just like, yeah, we just went with the penny slots. Everybody seems to like them, so we just maxed out. Now, there are exceptions. So you need to take a hard look at these return statistics. Hey, Jing Walk, thank you for the super chat. Let me see if I can make this happen for you. Thank you, Jinwalk, Chris, right, for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Right. So in general, penny slots have the worst odds of winning, but there's always exceptions. So look for them. For instance, Megabucks, progressive slot machines in Las Vegas, have worse payout returns. It's really low. I think their payout limit is like 75%. Their legal limit is, I think, 75%. And it's right down near that number. And everything else is like 85, 90. So yeah, Megabucks is worse if you happen to be in Las Vegas or have a place, you're at a casino where they have Megabucks. But after that, it's penny slots. Yeah, but 99% of the time, penny slots are the worst. I know they're enjoyable, and as I talk about when I help you identify your gambling goals and other topics we've talked about in the past. What you like is important. Don't let that go. And so, like hunches, these things are valuable and use them. So let's go look at payout returns. And I have an article that's been up there for a while, but now I'm talking about it on YouTube. And I have dropped the description into the link into the video description, and it will be in the um, podcast show notes, but I just dropped it into the live chat as well. So I'm going to go to that link. Whoops. That's the other one. So I am now showing on my screen top financial benefits of slot machine payout returns. So I'll bring that over a little bit. Oops, can't do that. Right. So the reason why we're doing 2 live streams on this topic is because this article is a long article. Sally, we'll come to that. That's another myth, but that's 5 minutes away, or less. So this is a long article. That's the reason why our payout return is important. What are they? And I talk about bankroll cycling in this article because I had to fit it in somewhere. I probably need to write shorter articles because they're a little more digestible, but and then theoretical payout returns, and then so there's payouts and returns and theoretical payouts and return statistics. So I have a section on each one of those. But what I'm headed for here is myths. So myths of slot machine payout returns, and take a look at this. One of the myths that's out there, which this one addresses directly, is what Sally just said. So Sally came back with a comment. I think the $5 machines are the best bang for your buck. That is a commonly held belief, which unfortunately isn't true. So if you go to, six states have, let's see, how I want to say this correctly. 6 states have payout return statistics provided to the State Gaming Commission, which are then made publicly available. I've gone to these and I've looked up which denomination has the highest payout return. And half the time, it is one of the high limit denominations. Not all of them, one of them, half the time. And the other half the time, the highest one is one of the low limit denominations, but not penny machines. So the 6 states we'll start with here are Colorado, Connecticut, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nevada, and South Dakota. Now, these return statistics that are publicly posted are based on state law, so every one of them is different. Nevada being, the example everybody tries to use, but sometimes it doesn't apply. They've got so many casinos, right? But like Louisiana breaks their state up into combinations of cities, right? Shreveport, Bossier City is like one region. So any casino in that region combines and is reported out for that. If we have one, we'll take a look at that. Connecticut, it has 2 casinos, and so there's a report for Foxwoods and there's a report for Mohegan Sun. Each one is by month, and they go back a long time. Those are old casinos. They go back a long time. They're old, but they're always renovated, so they look great and new. But the return statistics have been around for a couple of decades. I think maybe 30 years, maybe close to it. Then you have Colorado, which is for, they have 3 what they call mountain towns. I believe we have someone here from there. And lives in Denver, goes to Blackhawk, one of the cities, Central City, and then Crescent City, something like that. And those 3 historic mountain towns have casinos. There's also 2 kind of remote tribal casinos in Colorado, but we don't have return statistics. They don't get return statistics. They don't provide return statistics for the tribal casinos, but they do for the 3 mountain towns. But it's just for the mountain towns. There you have to look at your state, each one of these states, and say, okay, what are you offering? But it's not standard across all the states, not even close. But it's useful. I mean, what's the difference between penny slot machines in one of these states and penny slot machines in your state if it's not one of them? Most of you are not in one of these states. Statistically, it's 6 out of 52, the odds, and that's not good. So, but you can still look at this and go, everywhere it's reported, penny slots are the worst odds. That's useful for it no matter where you are, Oklahoma or wherever. So, right. If you want to, I'll mention my resource here. So, I have an online resource that I built for 3 years. It's completely free. Here's the tip: give the professor a spin tip. Link I was mentioning earlier. It's on all my pages, but focusing over here, I have an online resource. I have slots communities for each one of them, and alphabetically, I have summaries. This is, if I go back to the original here, if you hover over state by state, there's a summary article. That's where I've gone. And alphabetically, next week is Alabama. I'll be reviewing that then. I provide a summary and something about the gambling age and whether it's private slot machine ownership is legal or not. What's the situation? And then if you click on Alabama slots in 2019, which is what I did last time I did this, you can go there and find your state. It's alphabetical, and just we can go to each one. So we'll come back to this and visit one of these, several of these, as we go through this article. So each one of these 6 states is linked as well under this myths of slot machine payout returns. But this is a summary of what I saw when I did this, when I wrote the article. So in Colorado, the highest slot machine payout returns appears mostly centered on $1 slots. The lowest returns entirely on penny slots. Connecticut, and we can go look at that if we want to make sure I cover everything, and then we can take a moment and go look at some examples. Can't do all 52 states in 8 more minutes, 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. Right, so Connecticut, slot machine payout returns mostly increase with denomination all the way up to $100 at Foxwoods, but peak at $25 before decreasing at higher denominations for Mohegan Sun slot machines. Louisiana, highest payout return across all 4 of the gaming regions in Louisiana. The lowest is penny slots, and 4 regions, right? All of them, the denomination that's the lowest odds of winning is penny slots. Otherwise, 2 regions peak at 5 cents, and 2 regions peak at $5. So, kind of split the difference in Louisiana for that particular month that I looked at there when I wrote this article. Mississippi, so they have 3 gaming regions. The peak, the highest payout return is 5 cents for that month that I looked at for 2 of those regions. And for the 3rd region, it peaked at the $5 denomination. So sometimes it does happen. Nevada, wow, there's just so much statistics in Nevada. It's not just Las Vegas. There's Lake Tahoe, North Shore, South Shore, Las Vegas Strip, downtown, North Las Vegas, and there's even Boulder. So some of these are $1, 25 cent, $1, lowest being the Megabucks in downtown, 25 cent, North Las Vegas. The strip was $1. Second highest was 5 cent. Laughlin, 25 cent denomination. This is, I believe these are the tribal casinos. They're all part of the same thing in Nevada. 25 cent there, 5 cent in Reno, $5 in Sparks. Wendover had a best return on a $5 denomination, and South Dakota had the highest return on a 5 cent denomination. So when you look at that, and I recently looked at these numbers again for updating that article, it came back to be, again, about 50% of the time, one of the high limit denominations, $1, $5 $1, $2, $5, $10, $25, $100, 50. Some places have a $50 machine. One of those might have the highest denomination half the time. Okay. Right. So, question from Steve. My local casino has a bank of 6 machines that they keep changing machines out of every 6 to 8 weeks with new ones. Why do they do this in the same spot, not in different area, always the same spot? When I've seen this, it's been at the entrance, right? It's a player appeal situation. And sometimes, it may actually end up in the casino somewhere else. That could be a test spot, right? If you're going to have a machine that isn't going to be popular, you want to know it fast. So a casino might put it in the place where, this is where they put the new machines, and see if they're going to keep them. And if they decide to keep them somewhere else in the casino. That's one, it's all kind of like the business. And I can see a casino doing that. Now, Miami Valley Gaming, cycles through some at the front of the casino, but if they get a good one that really has high player appeal, they leave it, and then they start switching out some of the others. So it's what the casino wants to do. But I can see that being a totally valuable thing for the casino to better understand. I mean, you get rid of the machine if it's not popular, right? And it's like having a YouTube channel. You try it and you see if it works. Right. Other questions? Some good comments here. Let's see. Yeah, I get a question sometimes about, okay, so you've got penny slots, nickel, dime, quarter, dollar. What about multi-denominational? And one of the things that you can do is go to, let's try this. We'll jump over to Nevada. Nevada is an example that I remember that has that. So we'll jump to Nevada slots, and take a quick look. Get rid of that. Run on all the way. There's a lot of casinos, so you have to really scroll down to find the payout returns. So we've got statistical and publications site on the Nevada Gaming Commission, and this is payout returns. So we'll come here, and should be a, let's see, detail report. Yeah, this is always, you have to sort of look at it and understand it. Normally I just pop these things up. Okay, try that one. No, yes, no. Right. Oh, I need to download the report. Oh, come on. All right, this is not going quick like I wanted it to. I feel like it's a cooking show, where you, yeah. All right. So I need to find something a little bit easier. When you look at the return statistics, and I don't have any, just sort of like put it on the screen in front of you. I have to take a moment, click. There will be a list of denominations, and one of them will be other. And sometimes if you read the notes, it'll say multi-denominational is under other. Now, Nevada says multi-denominational. So they count how many multi-denominational machines, and any bet of any denomination on those machines falls under that line item. But then you go to other states which have return statistics by slot machine denomination, and they don't say multi-denominational, and darn well they do, because you know darn well they have them because you've played them, yet they're not on the return statistics. That just means that if you chose the denomination of $5, then that's where the statistics come through. And if you chose the denomination of pennies, penny, if that was available, then that's where it went in the return statistics. So, you can get the numbers if they offer the numbers, but other is one of those, if it says multi-denominational, you're like, duh. But if they don't have it, it must be reported. It must be reported if all the others are reported. So yeah, Jan says average in Louisiana is highest for nickel slots, lowest for penny slots. Uh, yeah, and so Chuck's. Let me just keep you up to date on what I'm showing here. So Chuck is asking Jan, so the multi-denominational slots are okay as long as you don't play them at the one penny rate. Yes, just realize that's for Louisiana. I mean, I believe that's true for Louisiana. That's what you're looking for. In Nevada, they have their own entry, so there you have your own entry. See what they have. Not everybody has return statistics, but some people are like, well, I wish I had return statistics. Well, enjoy your Excel spreadsheet, your Google spreadsheet, in your analysis, because it adds some layer of work. Right. So yeah. So Jan says, yeah, she believes so. Although I think there was a state or two that reports, yeah, it's a separate category, right? Let's see. I think that is the comments. So I'm going to get out of the Nevada Gaming Commission. And so if we let's go to Colorado. I know we have somebody on the live chat that's in Colorado. So we'll go there. Go to my article for that at professorslots.com/CO for the 2-letter postal designation for Colorado. Slide all the way down to payout returns after listing the casinos and looking at the map and which ones are commercial, which ones are tribal, all the many states Colorado is surrounded by. And then we have the gaming the gaming board. And then as of the writing of this report, the most recent report was August 2019. I put some summaries there in the article, but there's a nice little table that I made showing for this August 2019 how dime slot machines were highest for that month at Blackhawk, but it was highest and it was the highest in the state at Blackhawk. Next highest, or rather, next highest for Blackhawk was High Limit Room, and you can also see they give a multi-denominational entry. This is my copy over. We can click on this link right here. We can go actually see that, but this is my putting it all together. And so they have the different denominations, but they also have. Let's see, can I do this? Hesitate. Right, so I zoomed in. These are the different denominations you might see, and then they have their way of doing things is to put high limit all in one category. I don't know how this is different for, do they mean high limit above $5 because they have a $5 entry? I guess so, because you can't double count. And then you have the multi-denominational machine. So even if it was a penny, selected penny on those machines, or you select a nickel or a dime, they all get rolled into their own line item, unlike some other states which don't have a multi-denominational list. So this is just me copying it over from their report. And then, like I had mentioned before, there's one for each state: Central City, Cripple Creek, that's what it was, and Blackhawk. And then they average all of them for a statewide. And this is state, data provided by the State Gaming Commission. And some of them, like Central City doesn't have a high limit, or don't report it. They don't have $2 slots. They don't have 50-cent slots. They don't have any dime slots at Central City. Now, they don't have any 50-cent slots in Central City, but they do in Cripple Creek and they do in Blackhawk. And in Blackhawk, it's actually third highest. Or the highest, and at least highest of the three. So this is a sort of analysis that you can do for your state. And you could do a completely different layout like this and choose to just say, is it penny slots? And here, the penny slots, Cripple Creek has a great return for penny slots, better than any others. So it can happen. But otherwise, look at Blackhawk, 89.84% for penny slots, and the next highest is what, almost 92. It's over 2 percentage points, 2.05% points. And 0.6% is so noticeable, and anything over like 2% is just like pull your hair out. Right. So checking the comments. Yeah, there's lots of good comments. If you're interested in that sort of, listening to what folks have to say, in the live chat, it's only available during the live stream, and I don't leave it available for afterwards, so that people can feel free to talk about their tips and one another. And if you want to see any of those comments, you just have to be at the live stream. Otherwise, it's not made available unless I, click on one and put it on the screen for you, for those of you watching this later, as opposed or if I read them out loud, that sort of thing, for the people on the podcast. Did I miss any questions? People are talking about their local stuff. Yeah, if you have questions, chat with other slots enthusiasts from your area. I am trying to build a hub, a resource, and one of the things I built is a bunch of Facebook groups, and for each state, and one for sort of like the world and national. So take a look at that, and see if you can figure out what's going on in your casino. I mean, we have there's casino safety, I talk about. There's return statistics, which is very specific. There's very general topics, very specific topics, and it's all part of what I'm trying to offer. And I know I'm a little bit all over the place sometimes, and sometimes we go long. I don't realize how long of a topic is. This is just payout returns just to get you started, and doing an analysis of your payout returns for your state to better, make the most of things. I've done that with Jan in a consult, and talked about it with others in consults. But that's really something where we need to sit down and do the analysis, and I prep it beforehand and walk you through it later. So if you go to professorslots.com/consults, believe you me, the prices are only going to go up. And there's time available now if you care to, better understand payout returns for your state if you have them. Otherwise, we can talk about what it takes to win at Slots Master Casino Slots and win your way to success. Okay, everybody, that is it. That's time. Thank you so much. I will type that in so people can see it as well. Thank you so much. And I will see you next time. I'll talk to you later.